The first of these models is referred to as the medical model or the individual model. But when you think about the medical model, don't be thinking doctors and nurses and hospitals and stuff like that. That's a component of it, but that's not what the medical model is about. Medical model is mostly saying that disability is a characteristic that's exclusively centered in an individual who has that impairment, right? So all of our efforts are about trying to improve the skills of that person, helping them to overcome aspects of disability in some way. And so we have different people who come in with different types of services in order to help an individual to maximize their abilities or to in some way address their disability in a variety of ways. So for example, there will be medical professionals who will help people with things like diet, or will help them with things like medication if they're trying to deal with seizures or something like that. There is a medical component. But there's also like a rehabilitation component where people are helped to learn to walk or learn to use a wheelchair, those kinds of things. And there's even an educational component as well. I'm a special education professor. So one of the focus of what I'm up to is trying to help people to maximize their abilities from an educational perspective, so they can learn to read, or they can learn to do often different types of activities that need to be successful living on their own or living in a community. Everything is all about maximizing an individual's abilities so that they can have a better life. We can also, through a medical model, think about changes in the physical environment. So we think about things like putting ramps into buildings that would provide people with access to buildings where if there was just steps they couldn't get in so easily. There are aspects of things where we have buses where people can get on a bus if they have a wheelchair. Even things down to light switches and door handles for people who have various types of disabilities are examples of medical model potential approaches that help people to maximize their abilities. But it's important to understand that the experience of people with disabilities cannot be entirely explained on the basis of their limitations. Let me say that again. This is important to understand. The experience of people with disabilities cannot be totally explained simply on the basis of their impairments. There are other things that are going on. I remember I was speaking in Buenos Aires, and after I was speaking, a gentleman came up to me and he had lost his leg from the knee down in an agricultural accident working on a farm. Some machine had harmed him. And I remember him saying to me that for the last 30 years, he said, I have not been able to find a job because I will go into a setting and the people will see that my leg is missing from the knee down and they'll say, we are not hiring. Well, a person who has a leg missing from the knee down, there are 1,000 things that they could do in terms of jobs. So why are they not hiring this person or giving him a chance? It had nothing to do with his impairment, his lack of leg. It had to do with other kinds of things, which are discrimination kinds of things. And that's the next thing we're going to be speaking about, is the social model of disability.